Hey, welcome back to Stay Tuned. I'm Tony Angelo. Today we're going to talk about the top 5 jobs that you should have as a car enthusiast kid. Are you ready?
School's in session.
Oh, yeah.
Everything here is going to sort of break down into 3 categories. Number 1, money. Do you get paid a lot of it or a little bit? And number 2, flexibility and or how much time it takes to do the job. And number 3, do you get any cool car perks? Access to cheap parts.
I need you to hook me up. 3 of everything. I made a list.
Hey, you said you need 3 of all this stuff?
Because essentially, you want to maximize those 3 things as a car kid because you want to make a bunch of money. You want to spend not that much time at work so you can spend time working on your car or driving it. And it would be nice to get some kind of discount or make the car struggle a little bit easier. So does that happen? Let's dig in. Hey, if you like the channel and you want to support Stay Tuned, feel free to go to our Shopify website and buy some Stay Tuned gear. There's all sorts of stuff. We've got t-shirts, we've got stickers, we've got other t-shirts, and we've got stickers. Link is in the description of this episode and it's up on screen right now. All right. So number 5, we're going to start with
Pizza.
food delivery driver. Now there's obviously a million different ways to deliver food. You can work at a restaurant, a Chinese restaurant, or a pizza shop, deliver just for them. Now we've got all these different apps, DoorDash and Seamless and Grubhub, and there's like 9 million of them. Or you hook up with those and you wind up driving around. Here's why this is good and bad. So it's listed at number 5. Here's what's good. You're in your car a ton. You get to be zipping around on back roads. You get to know your area really well. You probably meet some cool people. You get some cool tips. You'll eat some free food. All good stuff. Here's why it's bad. The money generally sucks compared to other jobs you could have. And, it's just kind of like you're not really going to get super into the car world doing that. But the schedule's not too bad. It's usually pretty part-time, and it's pretty fun to do. So, number 5, solid gig, but there's better ones. I was a pizza delivery driver as a kid. I had my 86 Volkswagen GTI 8-valve car. I would rip around people's neighborhoods in Doylestown, Pennsylvania.
It's Little Nero, sir. I have your pizza.
Leave it on the doorstep and get the hell out of here.
Delivering them Spatola's wood-fired pizza, wood oven pizza. It was delicious. It was super fun. I made very little money, but it was an awesome way to get some tips and spend a bunch of time ripping around in my car. At one point, from trying to do a reverse burnout, I blew the reverse gear into bits. So I'd pull into people's driveways knowing I didn't have reverse and try to figure out a way that I could like coast backwards or like do a loop in their driveway because it's a tiny car and I could turn around. But once in a while I'd have to get out, push it backwards, and then get back in and go. So it was hectic. You gotta have a decently reliable car. But it's a fun car job for a kid. You got some good tips. Some people tip this is what I've learned. Even in a regular kind of like suburban town, the range of tips you're gonna get on a pizza is like between $1 and like $20. People are nuts. You have no idea. The other thing is you have no idea. You go to like a super nice house in a new development where like the copper roofs and stuff, and you'll get $1.50.
No! Bro, just calm down. You only gotta take one more delivery.
I don't want to work here anymore! And no tip! No tip!
And you could go to like some fallen down farmhouse with a bunch of dudes living in it, and you could get $18 tip. There is no way to judge it. So number 4 on this list is to be the parts counter guy or gal at a dealership.
Yo, Parts. Chucky, you ugly mother. Who did you rip off yesterday? Uh-huh. Well, yours too. What kind of car you screwing up today, huh?
Now, it's not great money, so we're gonna talk about money first, right? It's not like you're gonna get paid a ton. It's not a skilled position. So you're not gonna stack a bunch of bills and buy a bunch of turbo kits for your car. It's just not that kind of gig, but it's steady, and you kind of like are dipping your toe into the automotive world. So And a lot of guys I knew started out working at all these different big dealership chains we had by us as kids, as parts people, because there are some perks. Number one, you're gonna get parts at a discount, which is great. Number two, you're gonna meet a bunch of mechanics, other car people. You can get a sweet deal on buying a new car, which is something I've basically never done.
If you're dumb enough to buy a new car this weekend, you're a big enough schmuck to come to Big Bill Hell's Car.
But it is a way to get in there, and the hours are usually pretty rigid and pretty long. So I wouldn't say this is like a great one, but again, you do finally get some serious car perks. You're gonna get some discounted parts. You're gonna kind of get into the local network of car shops, figure out who's doing what right, who's doing it cheap, who's doing it fast, and you'll at least get rolling. You also know, you'll meet a bunch of mechanics. You know, you'll find out who's selling what cheap. Somebody's brother's got a Mustang, somebody's, whatever is coming off a RX-7 Turbo, whatever it is. You'll at least be kind of immersed in the local car scene. And it's a good gig. And again, you don't have to know a ton about cars either. It doesn't hurt. But believe me, there's plenty of people working at parts counters right now that don't know a damn thing about cars, and that didn't stop them. So get out there and sign up. All right, it's time for number 3. And if you are an aspiring car maniac, a young kid looking to get your feet wet, go to your local tire shop and apply just to be a tire tech. Get in there, your job's gonna be this. Putting tires on cars, dismounting, mounting, pulling the wheels off, putting them back on. This actually was my very first job in the car world. I started when I was 14. I did it full time when I was 14 and 15 over the summers, 40 hours a week to save up money to buy my first car, my Dodge Demon. And it was awesome. A lot, you're gonna learn a lot, okay? You're gonna probably work with a bunch of ex-convicts like I did. Dudes that had done some hard time. These were wild boys.
And I get locked up, they won't let me out.
They taught me a lot about life those summers. I had a lot of life lessons coming at me very fast and furious. It was awesome. You're gonna lift a lot of tires. You're gonna get pretty strong. Right? No, what's cool is the pay is not bad. Here's the drawbacks and here's the good stuff. Drawbacks, pay is not crazy, but it's better than delivery driver. Usually the hours are pretty long and regimented. You're not gonna like grab a 5-hour shift here and there. You need to get this job and hold it. And you're not really in the automotive world. You're not gonna learn how to rebuild a motor over there, but you will learn a couple things. Like generally those places do, like brakes, suspension, really mild stuff. You'll learn about alignment, which is awesome information to have. So that's a really good job. I worked when I was 14 at a place, and then 15, and then at some, I must have been 16 because I know I was driving their truck around. And eventually I got to go out on the deliveries. There was a little tan S10 there. It was called Sam's Service Always Counts. So it's Sam's Sack was on the sign. And on the side of the door of this S10, it said Sam's Sack. And kids would throw hoagies at me and scream at me. And they'd be like, Sam's Sack. And it was a good time. It was a learning experience. It was a keep your head down, grit through it. And it was awesome. I remember being half asleep. That once in a while that hoagie will wake you up on a Saturday morning when it hits the side of the window. Then you're up and moving. Anyway, service always counts. They're not there anymore, so don't go looking. All right, let's move on. Number 2 job for a car kid, girl or boy, doesn't matter, is actually just a shop hand, right? That's where you go in and you're like, I'll be a helper, an apprentice, a shop hand. I'll do whatever. I sweep the floors. I will do anything. My actual first job I would consider being a shop hand. I worked at a place called Extreme Motorsports, which was a 944 turbo shop in Warminster, Pennsylvania. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot about turbo cars, I learned about making horsepower, I learned about how cars handle. They did some racing. They let me drive a car at the autocross. It was awesome. It wasn't specifically hot rod stuff, but man, just seeing dudes that are like really knowledgeable by at that point was very cool. There's just, you're not making much money, but you eventually get to spin some wrenches. You'll eventually get to go on some cool outings, especially if it's got some performance vibes to it. You'll be able to buy some parts. You may find some stuff laying around. It's a really good place to get in the car community, get in the performance community, and whatever it takes to get in there. I went to this place opened up, Extreme Motorsports banner. I was driving around. This is between my first and second attempts at college. And I was like, oh my God, there's a racing shop in town. I will come there. I will do whatever. They had an AC Cobra replica. They had a 911. They had a 944 turbo there. And I was like, I need to work here. And they're like, we're not hiring anyone. And I went back like every other day. And I was like, I'll just work for free. Like, just let me hang out here and sweep the floors. And they did. I think I worked for free for a month. And then they saw I knew a couple of things. They started paying me a little bit. And it got to the point where eventually I was in the VWs at the time. Water-cooled stuff. Eventually I got to like sort of head up a rebuild. One of the guys who had a bunch of Porsches there also had a Volkswagen Corrado G60 4-cylinder supercharged thing. And I sort of managed the build of like rebuilding the motor, getting a couple of performance parts on it, turning it up a little bit. And then it was awesome. It was super fun. And that's kind of like where I jumped off into like full-time performance stuff, drifting, hot rods, whatever. But it was a great experience. Let's go back through the list. Number 5 was delivery driver for food, pizza guy, DoorDash, whatever. Number 4, parts counter. It could be at your dealership, it could be at a local auto parts store, whatever it is. Number 3, tire shop. That was my first gig. That's a good one. Number 2, just general shop hand at an automotive shop. And the number 1 job you should get as a car kid who wants to make it big in cars, believe it or not, is go work at a restaurant. That's what I'm talking about.
Wait, did that waitress listen to a word I said? This steak is medium rare.
You could be a server, you could be an expediter / food runner, you could be a short order cook, a hostess, whatever you want to do. This is why. These jobs are awesome. They pay really, really well. It doesn't matter. As long as you get in there, you show up on time, you do a halfway decent job. It's intense pressure. It's usually very hectic.
Boiling point. What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
Idiot sandwich what?
An idiot sandwich, Chef Ramsay.
It's a lot of people are pretty kooky. It's a fun place to work, but good money, great flexible schedules. You probably work a few shifts a week and make as much as you would work at that parts counter working 40 hours a week. And that will allow you to buy parts for your car and then have the time to put them on and maybe take it racing, take it on a trip, whatever you want to do with it. It is the best. If you want to look presentable, you can be a host or a server.
My flair?
Yeah. Or your lack of flair.
If you want to be grimy and slovenly, get in the back. That's where the fun is anyway. Be a food runner or an expediter, or if you can cook, you could even start at that's way more skilled, but they might let you do a couple things, like a prep guy, but it is the best. You want to go to your local touristy part of town, find a restaurant that sells like a $20 hamburger, and that's the place for you. You don't want to be a place that's like, only like crazy off the wall dishes that are like $40 entrees. You still want a place that sells a hamburger, but they sell it at a crazy price because that's where all your tips are coming from. It's coming off that bill. So that's the deal. I did it. Essentially, now that I'm thinking, I've had every one of these jobs as a car kid except for parts counter, and they were all super fun. But I worked in New Hope, Pennsylvania with my buddy Chris Forsberg. We were slinging burgers at people at a place called Havana's. Still there, still awesome. I bet the burger is still killer. You're gonna get probably a free shift meal, and you're gonna get a bunch of time to work on your cars with your buddies. It's the best. So believe it or not, number 1 job, food service, because the money is awesome. The work is hard, but you're gonna learn a lot about working under pressure. It's super fun, and you're not there 9 hours a day. So you have time to do your car stuff. That's it for this episode of Stay Tuned. I'm currently at Drag Week, Raising Hell with Mike Finnegan. Be sure to stick around for that episode. It's coming up soon. And we will see you guys next time. Peace.